Hi guys, hello everyone. My name is Pradana. I'm from Indonesia, and I'm a full stack engineer at BDPN. So yeah, it's really good to see you guys here in GDG DevFest Sri Lanka. It's a good opportunity, and yeah, I'm really looking forward for the DevFest around the globe, which is really amazing. And thanks for the organizer for all the preparation and stuff. So in here, let's kind. I will try to slow down. Yeah, as we can see in here, based on my slide that I will show you later, I will talk about the XR, which is a XR, something like that has a potential for the future development for when we are developing AR, VR on the mobile, not just on the mobile, but also cross-platform across the other devices also. Okay, maybe I'm not sure if my share screen already showed in the lives. Can you guys see my share screen already? Hmm. Okay, that's good. Yeah, as we can see in here, based on the title, yeah, I will try to show you guys about the secret recipe of a reliable AR/VR apps using TWA. So what is TWA and why is AR/VR is really compatible and really a good what is it approach for AR/VR to be developed on platform, which is really amazing. So yeah, let's get started. Before we started, let's say we have some story. Okay, let's see. There are a customer, Jenny. Anyway, we can call any other name anyway. So Jenny is actually likes playing games and also like installing other apps, which is really active using her gadget and doing her tasks and a lot of things. And then actually Janice also really likes to install a XR app or maybe AR and the VR on the Play Store, which is really amazing. And then we we realized that there are some new XR app which is really what is it is really amazing to be download. But actually Jenny doesn't have enough space to install it. Oh no, actually, I really wanna download the XR app, but this is really complicated for her. And then uh, even actually she already handled all of those obstacles, that storage problem, and then here comes the other problem, which is actually the network problem, which is okay, and then Jenny kind of really caught the patient anymore. So this is actually pretty a common problem for AR VR stuff because AR VR caught a very high file size as we know because there are a lot of models inside that, a lot of logic and code and scene. Because of that, I think we need something approach, another approach about how to build reliable AR VR apps. So yeah, so what we can do about this actually? Maybe you guys can put it in the chat about what should we do. Is there any other approach or something like that? Even actually, yes, we can try to improve the file size. You can try to improve, what is it, the network latency and stuff. Actually, but still, for native, I mean, there are a lot of, some limitation that what is it the minimum file size for VR or AR, which is like for example, I think the minimum is I tried to build something VR, the most simplest one, Sky VR app, and then the minimum file size is around 13 megabytes or something, and we can't do what is it a fewer than that. So yeah, what we can do about this, and then I will introduce you Chef Billy in here. Yeah, so Chef Billy says that, hey, nice to meet you. I have a signature receipt for this, you know. He said like that. So what he means is actually a reliable receipt. It's actually a receipt for AR VR that has four strong points that he can deliver. The first one is the simple. The second one is a lightweight, and the third fast and accessible. So as we can see, for example, in the Jenny's problem, she can't install the application because the size is way too big, which is pretty complicated. It's not simple. and it's really hard. Why is it heavy? It's not lightweight also, and sometimes the why is it the connection? So sometimes it's not so fast, and also of course, why is it advanced AR/VR apps requires a high end devices also, not just high end devices, but also some specific devices that only can access, which can be really a big problem for AR/VR application, and also for the XR developer around the globe because their solution it might not be able to reach out to all the users around the globe also. As you can see that there are a lot of limitations, right? For example, there are not a lot of people have VR devices, something like Oculus Quest or any other stuff. And mostly they only have devices that actually on the middle and low around this globe, which is AR VR is hard to reach those devices. So in that case, actually there are what is it some other approach that might be feasible, but not all people realize that. So in here, I would like to introduce you guys why is it the approach that we actually can do that. So based on this receipt, the 4 points, the solution is actually I call this XR on TWA. So what is TWA? As we can see, is that trusted web activities. So trusted web activities is actually what is it? A packager, a wrapper for our PWA. So basically, it's a next transformation of PWA or progressive web apps into the next level, so that PWA can be distributable to many other platforms, not just platform, but also the other operating system like Apple, Android, and maybe Windows. It can be really distributable also. In here, as we can see, there are a word called trusted, which is this is a website that we really can trust. Why trusted? We will talk about that later. So in here, maybe some of us didn't realize that actually PWA and TWA is actually really compatible and really amazing. That why is it XR development might be using because XR is usually, as we can see, we are developing mostly on Android Studio or I mean using AR Core or maybe using Unity, which is actually using the WebXR or the XR devices plugin that already what is it prepared inside the Unity app itself. So, but in here we will talk about something kind of different. We are not building XR from Android Studio or not from Unity because basically this is a web platform. As we can see, we build XR using web development tools. So how is it? Maybe we can just start it next. So in here, as we can see, it's a XR on TWA. So maybe first of all, I will to describe you guys about what is XR. XR means extended reality with the mix or maybe the combination for AR and VR. So extended reality is the combination for augmented reality and virtual reality. So in here, we bring those XR into a web TWA, or maybe some people call that as WebXR. But this is not just web because this will be transformed into something the next level called TWA, where this XR can be a native application like the other usual or maybe I mean Android Studio or Unity, the output of the XR is pretty same, but it's actually kind of different. That's it. So in here, this is the journey of the signature receipt that Jeff really try to prepare. So as we can see in here, there are XR model and XR API. I will talk about all of this flow little by little. So XR model and XR API is actually can combine into one feature called like XR. So basically, when we saying about XR, it's something like a framework or technology that already providing the model and the API itself. And then, as you can see, maybe for web developer, like on the top of the picture of the flow, the WebXR is actually a combination between the web and XR. So basically, it's a what is it, integration from one technology to another technology. Something that other people might really not realize that something like this can be achieved, right? And then after this, as we can see in here, after we combine the web and XR, becoming WebXR, actually the WebXR also can be transformed into something more the next level. This as we can see in here, it can be transformed into a SPA and then again into PWA and again as TWA. Until this point, TWA, we can distribute our solution into many other stores, which is it's not just one store. Since it's a cross-platform, it can be what is it? Our solution, our XR application can reach out a lot of user in many stores, which is awesome. So yeah, let's talk about step by step. I think this is just an overview of how we will do this. Okay, so in here, yeah, I'm trying to do something different here. Anyway, yeah, this is ingredients list. As you can see in here, before we started, we need all of this stuff. For example, the first one, we need the WebXR tools, which including XI API and XR library. For sorry for that typo anyway. And then the second one is a SPA kit. And the third PW enhancer. I'm trying to add some words that might describing so that we can understand easier, you know. And then the fourth one, we need a verified signature of ownership letter. What is this all about? You will understand that later. And then the last one, we need a TWA wrapper. Why wrapper? Because TWA is actually a wrapper for all the solution that we built for the XR. All right. This sounds maybe for some people this sounds confusing. Why is it? Especially maybe are you guys for who is not a web developer is like confused or maybe still new about SPA or PWA. So yeah, I will try to introduce that a little bit later. After we have, I mean, this is the ingredients list. Okay, let's cook. This is cooking not just for food, but yeah, it's actually a technology. Why we say cook? Because it actually pretty the same. We mix one technology into another and then another technology for something final result that we really hope, which is a food, delicious food. This is what in here is we can call it something like amazing XR application for the final result. So let's start. Let's cook, guys. Here, for the step one, first we have to prepare the base ingredient of the web. Okay, so the base of the web, it can be anything. It depends on what you guys, what framework you are using and stuff. And next, this is actually we can use a lot of framework that we might use. For example, Angular or maybe React PWA or Vue PWA. So basically, all other framework is actually can be integrated with PWA. PWA itself is really essential technology so that we can achieve TWA. I will explain about the PWA later, but the point in here is that we have to prepare a web base first, like the base of our solution, the website. So what I suggest it can be Angular or React PWA or Vue PWA, which is awesome. After we have, like for example, we choose one of these. For example, it depends on our background, right? If we are comfortable with Angular, we can use the Angular, which is actually the output is pretty the same. It's just a matter of yeah, our team capability and what our taste. There are a lot of consideration. So yeah, it depends on you guys actually. So after we decided to choose or pick one of these, next step two, you have to prepare the base of the XR by mixing the XR model and XR API. So basically, after we have the web, so in order to make a web XR, we have also to decide what XR library or framework that we would like to choose, right? So what is this XR? As you can see in here, like what I said before, XR stands for extended reality, where it's actually a combination between the virtual reality and augmented reality. So actually, this XR is will blend the computer generated and also the real world into one. So we can build anything in here. We can do anything in here. We can just build a world that we really need. And the solution, especially in this kind of situation, as we can see, we did a lot of remote work, a lot of remote studying, remote everywhere, right? So Excel application is really essential for this. Okay, so basically the XR API that I suggest, actually there are two in here. WebXR device API, and also the second one, you can also use Aframe Js, which is now is actually ARJS is also included in here. Maybe you guys already heard about ARJS. It's actually a JavaScript library so that we can use or maybe build some AR experiences on the web, which is awesome. And I tried that, and it works for most devices because it's really a simple library that actually use how to make an AR on the web really as simple as it can, so that it can reach a lot of users. So these two actually got their own, what is it, strength and weakness. So I will explain that later. So basically, this is our options. Something like the product that we choose, right? In order to pick a food, to make a food, we need to choose best ingredients based on our taste and our requirements, of course. So in here, first, we have to prepare the XR model. So after we have the web base ready, right? Like a plate for our food, but we need something on that plate, right? We need something, what is it, the ingredients that we will put on the plate. So this is the one of the ingredients, which is XR model. So in here, I will try to tell you guys about the XR model for WebXR device API. So in here, we can see that there's a link that you can access immersive web. WebXR is an official website to learn about WebXR. This is actually really an exclusive one. Why I say exclusive? Because the technology behind this WebXR is really high, and not all devices can use it, or not all devices support this technology also. Why? Because actually in this WebXR device API got a lot of integration, which is awesome. For example, if you have some controller for the VR, maybe Oculus, it can be also integrated with a WebXR device API. And not just that, this is also extends the power of AR core, so that we can see in here this WebXR actually we are looking at the AR card's power. As we can see, we put sunflower in here, sunflower, and the flower is actually attached to the flower that we actually scan. So the power that this WebXR is that actually this scanning, what is it, the word, our word, and then copy our word into the virtual world inside the WebXR. So that's why this sunflower really looks really real, really attached to the floor with a proper scale and with a proper movement. If we move into the other if we move to the other side of the sunflower, as we can see, the sunflower really stable, stick to that, not moving or glitch or have any glitch. It's really strong because actually this WebXR is what is it? Copying our word and make it the same. Mm, that's why before you use the feature, you have to do like something like scanning in here, scanning about our surrounding, so that this WebXR understand about our environment, about our surrounding, about our space. It will copy all the words. I mean, like the platforms and also the shape, everything, like the table, but not really completely copy all of those, but just for the shape of our environment. That's why after it finishes reading our environment, we can put an object on that. So this is really high. class actually. So it depends on our solution. If your solution requires this feature, you can use this. That's the point. And then the XR model, the second one is Aframe Js, as you can see in here. Aframe Js is a library for building WebXR also on the web, of course. So in here, basically the point of this FMJS is that it can reach more users, but with a limited capability. Maybe this is not as strong as WebXR device API that can connect into a controller and maybe scanning our surrounding. It's not that I mean really very high tech, but this is something that we need if we would like to build an Excel application with a simple and not a lot of requirements. And also, we would like to reach out a lot of users across the globe. So, this if you are was it really on that requirements, I think this is what suits us. So yeah, as you can see in here, this is inspector mode for the Aframe.js. When you are accessing a WebVR using Aframe.js, you can do some trick to activate this inspector mode. So it's like something, the look is like a Unity where actually there are some elements on the left side and you can move the elements as you see, as you want, something like that. This is pretty easy and really straightforward. And yeah, if you like to build a high scalable for users that can be achieved, it's really also a good one. So the point is, the FMJS is actually for middle and low end devices, and you want to deliver your solution to the middle and the low devices. Okay, and then about the compatibility. In here, as you can see, there are a lot of browser, right? So for now, this is the compatibility of WebXR device API that I told you before. As you can see, WebXR device API is actually a high class library for WebXR. So it requires only some browser for now that is supported, but it will be uh, expanded later more and more into another browser also. But for now, it's only support Chrome, Edge, and also Chrome Android and Samsung Internet. Other than that, there are some places as not supported. So when you are accessing the WebXR device API, there are some messages that might appear on your screen. But if you are using a JS, maybe it will support on most of the browser. But yeah, as we can see, there are limitations for the library itself. It's not as amazing as WebXR device API, but it can reach out a lot of users because the library is pretty simple, straightforward for web VR development, and yeah, it's really compatible for most users. Okay, after we have this 3D and I mean website, and then now let's cook our web and cook our XR. So we will mix this web and XR. So basically in here, we will integrate the base of the website that we will use. I mean the plate, right? And then we'll put some food on the plate, which is XR. So it will become a web XR. So in here, basically, we just need to integrate your XR. And there are some related article about that that you can use in here. You can just take a screenshot or something like that. You can access that also. So basically in here, as you can see, we just need to import the library for the XR. In here, I'm using my own custom library, which is called Astrofile. In here, actually a library that on top of Aframe.js also, but this is more into for TWA purposes. So in here, I import sky scene and the road camera and image. As you can see in here, I put a content, three content, camera, image, and sky. So basically, I just put those components into our web framework that we're choosing already. So, and this is actually the code for the web VR, and on the right side is actually the result of the web AR. So basically, this is a web XR, which is actually the mix of those. The right side, as you can see in here, we can build web AR where actually we can scan some marker and then there are some 3D model will come out from the image, which is amazing. Because usually, for example, we don't need to install or stuff. We just need to visit the website, and magically everything will be happen like how the native does, which is really awesome. And step four, this is actually the key. In here, we have to add a service worker flavor to make our web taste really SPA and PWA. After actually, as we can see, after we have the build with the web and the XR, right? But for some reason, those WebXR still not, why is it, has a taste for SPA and PWA. It's just like WebXR as usual. So how to make it special? How to add more flavor on the WebXR? So here we are, SPA and PWA. If you use this framework, you just activate the configuration and build it right away. So you mostly, usually, some framework is not activate these features of PWA automatically or service worker automatically. So we have to activate it by ourselves based on our need and requirements. So in here, as you can see, I'm registering for the service worker for the caching and the notification. And yeah, as we can see in here, actually there are built-in service worker for Angular and also React WA. So yeah, we just need to activate it. And then, so before that, what is the SPA and PWA test exactly? Let's try what we have cooked so far. So in here, I'm showing you like how SPA works, especially for those who still didn't understand about SPA or may confused about what I'm talking about. So in here, SPA stands for single page application, which actually we will build a website with a single page application with no reload, without reload at all when we are trying to move to another URL or to another route, which is awesome. And always it really lightweight. It's not so heavy and smooth and good for our transition. So let's see how this works. So you can see in here, this is one of the example of GDG DevFest with a SPA. As you can see, the transition and also how it moving to another URL and route is really fast. That's why, because this website implementing SPA, which is awesome. I will tell you with a little bit. So basically, this graph or schema, as we can see in here, the user can first of all access the UI and then put the URL, right? And then after that, the server will return as static assets and the data. So basically, SPA will divide the return of the server into two. Generally, on the concept is static assets and data. So when we change to another URL, it's only changing or requesting the data only. If the asset is still the same, it will not be reloaded. So it just changed the data. And that's why it's really fast and no reload. And then the next one, uh, maybe we didn't talk about PWA. So this is how PWA works. Generally, and a big concept overview. As we can see, if you're accessing a website, right, and then there's a service worker, and this is a really smart worker because this can decide when to fetch the data online and when to fetch the data offline using cache. So basically, this PWA has a capability to, why is it, to load the website offline without internet. And I think that's pretty famous feature, as we already know mostly. Yeah, just like a recap a little bit. So for this online feature, for example, the service worker will compare the, what is it, the ID or the hash data that the kids have and the server have. If it is the same, then the service worker will not fetch the data to server, but just get the data offline. But if the data is not available on the case, the service worker will try to fetch online to the server. So this is really amazing and smart, of course, because we don't have to refetch the same data. We just need to fetch the what is it, the new data. But if there are no any new data, the service worker will just pick, we just pick the data into the case. So why ARVR is really good for this service worker? Because as we can see, ARVR has a 3D model, has the assets, has the data, which is really a big one, and that's why we have to optimize the website performance and how to load the data, the model, and stuff. So that's what makes WebXR is really fast if the WebXR are using the service worker. That's it. This is so after, let's say, after the service worker fetch the WebXR and put the kids, and for the next one, it's really fast and it doesn't require any internet also, which is pretty the same as the XR native one. So this is how it looks like. As we can see in here, we are installing the PWA, and we open the XR app, and boom, the 3D model, everything is prepared and loaded really fast without we realize it. See, we just install, and then after we install it, and then I try to open the, and it just takes like not more than 1 second to load the WebXR what is it, website or the scene. It's really fast. That's why the service worker is really good for XR. And then now I will show you about the comparison. This is TWA VR and the native VR that I built. And the native VR are using Unity, and then also the TWA is actually a VR that I built using TWA with a base of SPA and PWA also. So as you can see in here, even the native VR run first, but TWA has a faster startup time. And also, even actually, as you can see, in this TWA VR, there are images, so there are a lot. It has more assets to be loaded. It has more assets to be fetched, but it's just really fast because, yeah, it is actually WebXR is fact is really lightweight. It's not so heavy. So actually, the native VR is really heavy, but on the web, it's not that heavy. That's why it has a very big difference on how to start up the VR stuff. So basically, these two are the same APK. Not the same APK. What is it? This one TW APK and also the native APK. So these two actually both are native, but built with a different approach. Like what I said before, it's using TWA, and the other APK is using Unity. So and then the next one, as we can in here, the comparison between the TWA, iOS, and Android. What's the point that I would like to tell you in here is after we build TWA and then we try to compare it. This is TWA to for iOS, so we can also use TWA for iOS, and this is TWA for Android. As we can see in here, the size, this is just like a 25 kilobyte. And then also the other one is a 623 kilobyte. So actually this is a XR application, but with a very lightweight the size, this really small size, which is really awesome. So what you see on the previous slide is actually a TWA Android, this APK that I use, the 600 KB kilobyte, which is amazing. So I will try to rewind. This on the left side is actually 600 kilobyte, which is really fast. And I just install it and boom, the VR ready like really instantly almost. That's why it's really, wow, reliable. And then continue about the comparison, the third one. In here, I'm trying to use Android profiler, Android Studio profiler. In here, I'm profiling two different APK with a different build, of course. The first APK is built using Unity, native VR, and the second one is built using TWA VR. Slightly, it's pretty the same, but as we can see in here, the APK size is requires 17 megabyte, which is kind of big. And I think this is kind of minimum, even without any assets, without anything, you just build VR. It's the minimum is around 13 megabyte. But and then for the TWA VR with sky assets and the image asset for that, it also just requires a 600 kilobyte. So as we can see in here, if you compare the scale of the file size, it's really different. It's like more than 10 times, 12, 20 times more than. It's really, really far away. Uh, Not so heavy for the TWA. It's not just that. As you can see in here, the download size is pretty not as big as a native VR. So which is this is why it's really awesome. Why I like this? Maybe you guys have any talk about that. But yeah, of course, because the web VR, the core of the web, I mean the core of the VR is deployed on the cloud, right? On the website that we are using. So that's why this is just the shell one. But once we fetch the website, when it turned out to be a cache, the file size or the APK size is pretty the same, not a lot of difference, which is maybe just we need to add more 50 kilobyte or 100 kilobyte. But with the same result, with the same assets, it has a very different APK size for Android. So, and then in here, you can see we give wrap our code PWA into TWA. We have a PWA before, right? So how we cook the PWA into a TWA. This is kind of the final result. So yeah, this is the schemas we can see in here. We have our deployed PWA in here, right? So this PWA deployed, we can make a TWA based on the deployed one of the website. There's a wrapper in here, like something a box. This is what I call as TWA. This TWA will wrap our PWA into something solution that really really distributable to other stores. As we can see, we can build our PWA into many forms like Android and Apple or iOS, and also for Windows, which is wow, it can reach a lot of other users as well. But not just that, there are some also a browser, of course, so that other people who actually not even use any of these OS, but they are accessing on the website, they still have the same experience. So basically, it can reach mostly like all of the users. And not just that, even so, it can also access into not just specific mobile devices, but actually also for desktop and for VR. What is VR? This VR is actually Oculus. I mean, this PWA and TWA is also can be accessed into our Oculus devices if you have, you know. So it's not just a mobile, it's not just a desktop or laptop, but it also can be experienced using Oculus VR, which is amazing. So this is, as you can see, PWA requires ownership signature. In order to make a trusted web activities, it requires ownership signature. Why? Because the deployed web is actually like everyone can achieve that website. Hey, this is my website. This is my TWA. I want to make an application based on that. Everyone can make that, and that's of course that's not the right, right? So that's why there are some signature so that to prove that when you build an application TWA and referring into a PWA deployed on the cloud, hey, this is my website and this is my application. I want to store this and distribute this into many other stores. So in that case, that's why this signature is really important so that to make a flag that this is what is it the website and the WA is has a synchronized ownership so that yeah, not random people can just steal our PWA, of course. That's why. So in here, for example, you can also build TWA from other people or other persons PWA on the web. You can build a TWA based on the other random URL, but when you build after that, right? And then when you run the TWA, it will have something like a header on the TWA on the application. It will be not full screen. It will be like, what is it? There are some prompt that is run on the Chrome, so that it proves that actually it's not yours. It's not. So the TWA will act as a web view, similar something like web view that will render the other person website, but it's not yours. That's why this ownership is really important. So when we have this ownership, and also we build a TWA, when we open the TWA, the header or the banner will be gone. So it'll be really like full screen TWA application and act like a native one. You know, that's why. As we can see in here, there's a Chrome in here. You know, this Chrome is really important uh, because this Chrome is the base of the TWA. TWA will run on top of Chrome custom tabs, So these custom tabs will act as a native apps. So the version of the Chrome or the capability of the Chrome is really will affect a lot on TWA because that's the core of the capability as a PWA, of course. So usually, if there's problem when the Chrome version is not too updated, some users might not be able to access TWA properly. So in that case, from the developer side, we have to detect the Chrome version first, and then if it's not supported, then we have to make a prompt. Hey, you have to update first before using this TWA, because after the user update the Chrome, the TWA will work because TWA works on Chrome based on the Chrome. And after that, after we have this result, ownership signature into many other devices, and then it can be distributed to many store. So let's see, this is one of the example TWA for Android. We need installing, and then when installing, this is the APK called Astrofile project. And when installed, and then finish, and we open the application, yeah, there's some logo up here, and this is just for a prompt. So you can see, yeah, the full screen, the application will work full screen. It means the ownership signature, it works. So yeah, but if there are some wrong on the ownership, there will be some text saying that actually this run on Chrome and something like that. And next, so what is this signature? The signature is called asset link signature, which can be put into your application and your website. There is called you. So in order to build this signature, like to flag the website and the application or TWA is the same person or the same ownership on the website, you have to put a well-known a folder called .well-known, and then inside that folder you have to put asset link.json. Then the content of the assertion is can be like this. You can also browsing more on the internet about how these asset links or maybe the template for the asset links.json. So basically in here you will require a SH8 256 certain fingerprints. You are requiring a fingerprints. That's why these fingerprints will be really important to decide who is the owner of the website of the TWA. You have to generate by yourself and then to prove that this is yours. After you generate that, you will have that this is for the website site, and inside the application, yeah, you also have to put this fingerprint into the manifest and something like that. And after that, after you there are sync the fingerprint on the website and the fingerprint on the mobile has the same signature, has the same fingerprint, they will be treated as TWA. So last step, after we build a TWA, we can sell or maybe distribute our TWA in the store. So as we can see in here, this is the example of pwabuilder.com. That is actually one of the website that you can use for distribute your PWA. In here, actually, there are a lot of stores that are available for your solution. It can be deployed into Windows and Android and iOS. So when you click on the store package, you will be get something information what the package name and the application name, and once you click download, and then you will have the TWA for specific platform, for specific stores. You can put your TWA into the Windows, Android, and iOS. So in that case, if you can build a very fast AR/VR application, and you can put the AR/VR application into many stores, Windows, Android, and iOS, and also for the website, for the general one, which is really accessible for many people. So, but there is one thing really interesting. Recently, actually, the Oculus also providing for PWA into Oculus Store. So basically, it's not just Windows, Android, and iOS, but you can also distribute your XR application into Oculus Store. So basically, you can build Oculus application or game or any 3D that you use so that you can experience the XR inside the Oculus, which is means it's really awesome that you can reach a lot of users, a lot of devices and platforms. Hmm, so I think this almost done. Jeff Billy says that now let's recap what XR actually can do. So this is the conclusion. This is XRTWA. As you can see, first of all, it has a fast startup, like what I demonstrated before. And then it has a lightweight file size, which is actually around 600 kilobytes. And also it has a fast performance, since because it's using Cage and also work as a browser. There are no slow browser, right, except the internet. But since this is a Cage and offline, you will face experiencing very very fast XLTWA. Aside from those three factors, there are also two important way, which is it's accessible to many platforms. It's accessible into a mobile, desktop, and Oculus Store, of course, for the VR, and also browser for the general one. It's accessible to all the platform, which is amazing. And the last one, it can be distributable to many stores also. Oculus, Google Play, App Store, and even Windows Store. So basically in here, you can build amazing VR app for many stores, for many platform, for many users. I think that's all from me. That's it, and thank you for your attention. I will get back to the host.